Check, 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 check. Is this thing on? It is on. Hello, hello, hello. We are back once again. Get my keyboard out the way here. We had a very unsuccessful day yesterday, and I'm really hoping that does not extend in today, because today, as we can see, I have ourselves a Turbo Express GT, or a PC Engine GT. This is the Japanese version of the console. And this one is in just as bad of shape as my other one was. And the other one, if you have been following along, is now deciding it no longer wants to work. So I'm hoping to God that I can get this one up and running. At least save a little face. And I have a guy who's willing to take a look at my other one for me, who's a little bit smarter than I am, to see if he can narrow down what chip ended up blowing out on me. But yeah, if you remember the last one, now it starts the game, glitches out immediately, and then just completely locks up and stops working. I never did figure out the no external audio and then the missing left audio channel, so things just kept getting worse and worse, so I just decided to step back from it so I don't cause any more damage to it. So he said he would be willing to just take a look at it for me, and I'm going to have to mail it off to him. Unfortunately, he is in the UK, so it's going to be probably a while before I hear back from him. But that's okay. I mean, the way I look at it, things non-functional anyway, so, it is what it is. So what we're going to do today is we're going to, the very least, we're going to remove the caps. I might have the gumption to go ahead and replace the caps, but we'll see how I'm feeling. Right now, I just kind of want to at least get these dirty caps off the board, and then that way we'll be all set and ready to go for a complete recap. I already have the kit, but because we had such a pretty bad day yesterday, I don't know. We'll see. I just kind of need a win, So let's go ahead and get her started here. Well, first things first, what we got to do is remove the shield to get access to a capacitor. So I've got to go through and very, very gently remove solder from all these points. I do have some interesting news. As the channel name states, I am an idiot, and I figured out finally why I couldn't get that dang Series X power board to actually power on, even though it was working the last time I looked at it. Well, it turns out that, I put the cable in backwards. So once I got that sorted, we did get the power button to actually act like a power button. Unfortunately, the end result was the same, and I do believe now on that Series X board I have a Southbridge issue, and unfortunately, due to the cost of either a new Southbridge board or a Southbridge chip, it is just not worth it to repair it currently. If I do find a cheaper replacement at some point, I may revisit it and I may repair it. But unfortunately, either the chip or the complete board, and even with the board, there was no guarantee that it was working, because I think the guy even said that the board had issues. So it's half the cost of what I paid for it. So if I installed it, there'd be no money in it, and it just becomes not worth it at that point for me, especially because it's not a guaranteed thing. So I'm actually going to have to I'm going to be returning the hard drive I bought for the express purpose of fixing this, because I don't need that either. That one's going to be kind of a pain to get to, but I can do it, I think. And we'll set it aside. I'll either keep it for a parts board, I might just sell it off as parts, letting people know that the Southbridge chip is most likely defective. I'm going to speak with a couple other folks before I make that decision to see if I can actually narrow it down to a Southbridge issue, which I'm like 98% sure it is at this point, or if there's something else that could possibly be doing the same thing, where it gives me like that 7-second boot and then just refuses to turn on. So it's a little disappointing, but you know, that's just kind of how these things go sometimes. You're just not going to be able to fix everything, and if I was an actual repair shop, or you know, this was something that if I was repairing a lot of Series X's like I repair Nintendo Switches, it probably would be a non-issue for me because I could just pull a donor part off, but just not the case right now, and it's sad. But you know, it's all learning experiences. I kind of wanted to work on a Series X, and I got my wish, and it just didn't work out. So it is what it is, you know. On to the next, so to speak. And what we got next, coming up next week, is I lost that now. The glare on this is kind of... I might actually have to turn this off real quick. No. Turn this on. I think that, yeah. It's not the best lighting right now because that metal shielding is reflecting. Gotta play with my white balance settings some, I think. And that might make this a little bit better. But anyway, I do have a PlayStation 5 coming to me next week, which, you know, I've not really wanted to work on a PS5, and the biggest reason for that is because PS5s use liquid metal instead of thermal paste, and if you've never dealt with liquid metal, it is a gigantic pain in the ass. Oof. Ooh, there's some... Yep, I could smell some burning electrolytic fluid on that one. Oh, that one hit me like a wave of FU. Oh, my lord. Oh, that stuff smells so bad. In the case for the uninitiated, burning electrolytic fluid smells like dead fish. It is very, very, very unpleasant. Okay, so what we need to do now... I could have sworn... Okay, am I missing a tab? I might be missing it. Let's go give these things a quick little wiggle test here real quick. Just to see if... I don't know where my thicker... I could try these. I got these two. Oh, there they are. I have a nice pair of thick tweezers for these bigger pins. So, I mean, that's free. Just keep going through now. I thought there was a hidden one. This one might not be. That one needs a little bit more love, it looks like. Let's just sneak in the iron. Could have sworn there was one that was hidden, so I've got to look around real fast, but I'll just tap-around this guy again. I might have done it, I'm not sure. It's kind of difficult to get to this one. Once again, more burning electrolytic fluid. Absolutely stinks. This board was, I could visually tell, was pretty bad in terms of leaking capacitors. That's free. And then this guy, is this guy free? No, that guy's still soldered on. So a couple of little tiny bits. This guy's in the back, I could tell. I could see it from here. So let's just see if maybe we can, there we go, free you up. And make the house smell even more like rotten fish. Ugh, it stinks. You're going to hear me say that a lot during this process because it stinks. And if you ever want to experience it yourself, just go buy a Game Gear and recap that. See, I'm thinking, yeah, it is. It's in here. It's this guy. Yeah. Okay, so this one now, I think if I just gently that one I got up. That one still needs some love. That one's up. So this guy in the end here, I thought I had him moving though. Yeah, just double check on that. No, he is still soldered, so we will tap, tap, tap-a-roo. Okay, so this is just a pain in the butt because of the daughter board that is hard soldered. Okay, that might have done it. Let's see if you're free now. Okay, that's free. So we should have... Sorry, this is off camera because it's a little bit easier for me to just manipulate it. Okay, we got those two. That guy is still soldered. That's out. So this guy, right? Oh, that's still the same guy. Yeah, this one's this guy right here is just kind of being a pain. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna maybe see if I can't just sneak my soldering iron in there. I might have to use a thinner tip. No, let's hit this with a little bit more flux, just a little bit more. I might have to re-flow this and then try again. Use some very, very, very fresh braid, just to avoid any from seeping in there. Now we got to come from the left-hand side here because that appears to be where it's still soldered. Because I really can't get my tip in there. That might have done it. It's hard to tell. But yeah, that looks free now. So that would be this side. Yep. Okay. Okay, now. Okay, this end piece right here. Is this guy still not free? No? Looks free. It should come up, no? Trying to be very gentle here. Alright, so I'm going to try this the hard way. I think before we could just kind of, Yeah, we're going to do this way. Just get in there some more braid. Those metal tabs really aren't doing much, and I can just bend them back. It's really not a huge deal. In fact, I don't even know why they're there in the first place. A lot of these shields are just kind of like, just in case. Sometimes they serve a purpose, a lot of times they don't. Or they're not as terribly as important as you would think. Okay, I think I got it. It's kind of hard to tell. That might have done it. Yep. There we go. Okay, so this is... We'll just do this real quick. Just so y'all can see, this is what the exposed board looks like. So let's get the microscope back into place here. And now begins the very, very, very nerve-wracking part of clipping these sons of bitches off. And when I did this last, I had two that tore some pads on me. So this time, I'm going to use that knowledge to my advantage. And I am going to very much so be very careful with those particular caps. Now, you can see, for anybody who doesn't really recognize this right away, so these are electrolytic caps, and they contain a fluid that's corrosive, and this corrosive liquid eventually does start to spill out with the very, very old capacitors. And you can see how this kind of looks brownish. That's the fluid that's made its way into the pad, because your pad should look silver. So if you see this brown gunk near electrolytic capacitors, it means they've started to leak. And we can see that it's pretty extensive. It's even gone. So this board, this is really why I wish I had myself an ultrasonic cleaner, because this is a very, very, very good candidate to be hit up with one of them. I'm just taking a quick look around. But yeah, I'm gonna have to. Ooh, that's not good. That's really not good. Yeah, that's pretty damaged right there. I am probably going to have to do trace repair on that. I mean, you could see unless that's flux, which, I mean, that very well could be flux, but... Alright, so this is this one right here was the one where I ripped this pad before. It's looking a little rough in this one too. And there's more fluid that's leaked out. Yeah, this board's in very bad shape. And then these two are probably the biggest pains in the ass to get to because of this epoxy putty material right here, which you have to kind of cut around, but at the same time, this chip right here needs to stay covered. So, alright, well, you know, I guess the only thing we can do is just kind of cross our fingers here and pray that we're going to be able to restore this, because this cost me a decent chunk of money. So I would really like to get one of my two portable turbo graphics to work. So, I know, now comes the hard part, which is basically we gotta you want to clip parallel to the pads. Now, these are kind of tricky right here because that daughter board's in the way. So I like to cut the cap off and trim the leads. And then see if we can get the plastic bit off, which I usually end up having to kind of destroy. Because yeah, it doesn't always want to just lift up over those pins. I'm also taking a slightly different approach today, and I've got a very small shot glass on hand to dump all my parts in. Now I'm being very careful here because you don't want to lift up too hard, because you don't want to pull the pad. So very, very, very gently, just kind of removing this. Now, end of the day, I could always just use my soldering iron there. Okay. So basically now, once you clip off the cap, the first thing that we should do is we should get rid of the legs, replace with fresh solder, then wick off that fresh solder, and scrub. So it's a process, but you definitely want to get the corrosion up as quickly as possible. And yes, it is going to stink. So if you are in a very enclosed space, I do recommend a fan, and maybe even some air freshener. Okay. That one surprisingly didn't smell too bad. It is very highly corroded because it's tough for my soldering iron to get there. Okay. So now that stunk. Okay, so now we're going to fill this with some solder. Same thing here. Okay. And we wick away all our hard work. And when you're wicking, go with the direction of the pad, because you want to basically minimize the chance that you're going to damage the pad in any sense. So this is probably going to take me far longer than some people, because I am honestly going to be really, really, really handling this with kid gloves, because I really kind of need a win. Okay, so now I'll just so we can soak up some of that junk with a clean cotton swab, just to see what the area looks like. Not too bad, I suppose. Okay, we'll just clean it again. I think we still have some corrosion to deal with. Maybe. Yeah, see that corner? How that corner looks kind of grody. So we'll flood and drain again. It's going to be a long process. Hey, what's up, Felchi? You playing some Armored Core? You've been enjoying that. I was playing a little Blasphemous earlier, and it frustrated me too much, so I decided to take a break. I got on the DLC level in Blasphemous, and it is very, very difficult. Okay. I'll do this pad as well, just in case. Just make sure the entire pad can take solder. Once it does, you have a pretty good inkling that the corrosion has been removed. We can just wick it away like so. Once more. I might switch to my other wick, because this stuff is doing many sorties, huh? Well, the people that have played that game do seem to enjoy it quite thoroughly. So I hope, from the sounds of it, sounds like you are also enjoying it quite thoroughly. So I hope it stays that way for you. Man, I've misplaced my other wick. It's around here somewhere. This goot wick is going to probably annoy the crap out of me. Oh well. If I need it, I'll have to look for it, because I don't have too much of this left, but I should have enough to get me through the job. Just gonna mean I'm gonna have to use my toothbrush a little bit more. Fresh cotton swab here. So we got kind of lucky. This one is in good shape. Clean up anything in the area. And then on to the next. So I think we will flip the board this way. And then we'll get these two. So these also don't look too bad. These are the, I think these are related to the LCD contrast, or the brightness. Could just be LCD power in itself. I'm really trying to keep things steady as possible. That one is very internally corroded. You can see the pin came loose there, so maybe we can just do this. Okay, that one is pretty heavily corroded. Oh man, oof. That stinks. So let's kind of just, we're going to clean first here on this one. Just to see. I think it's just all on the pad itself though, so that's good. Now this one still has, I thought that I got the pin off, but I might still have some remnants on the board there. So let's just go ahead and use a little bit of heat. Nope. Ooh, we might not even have a pad left. That's unfortunate. We might have to rebuild this one. That is unfortunate. Sometimes, you know, even have the opportunity to screw the board up, it just does it for you. So let's just see here. Could just be very, very, very corroded, which is kind of like what I think is the case. So we're going to just apply some more solder. This side too, same thing. Okay, that one's a little bit better. You can see how it took new solder a little bit easier. So let's wick away the bad part first. And again, we're gonna go with the pad instead of against it. You're not scrubbing, you're just kind of trying to let the braid glide across the pad. Stuff stays way hotter than I expected. That's gonna feel good later. That is looking pretty ugly. I'm not sure there is anything left there. It looked like it took solder, but maybe I was wrong. I think it is completely gone. Oof. Okay, well, that is unfortunate. Let's try to clean it and see if we can see anything. To me, that looks pretty bad. Just can't tell. It looks like there's a pad there, but it is so unbelievably. Let's turn this freaking light off. Okay. I just can't tell. I think it's corrosion, but nothing wants to. No, that's gone. That's got to be gone. It looks like there's a pad right there, but I'm pretty sure that is. No, it's there. Let's just kind of gently scrape real quick. Okay, that's making me feel slightly better. That just goes to show you how heavy the corrosion is. That is corroded really badly. So let's grab another hit here, and we're gonna once again just do that, and then take a quick little cotton swab here. All the while going with the pad, with the pad, with the pad. Okay. So that needs, again, I need to put some fresh solder on that. Wick it away again. And then we're gonna call it good. But I think now it should take solder. Or not. That is the problem with corrosion. Okay. We're almost there. I might need to put a little bit of flux on that. Like if I flux that, but I don't think that's necessary right now. We're gonna add some more to this side, wick it away. That looks good. Okay. Good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. So I don't know how many of y'all out there are Counter-Strike enjoyers, but my friends group all got their CS2 invites this past week, and we have been playing it. I managed to achieve my rank last night, and actually did kind of better than I was expecting. At 3,500 points, I figured I'd be probably in the 2,000 range, and yeah, I did a little better than I thought. Me and my buddy ground out about 5 hours worth of matches, maybe 6 or 7 at the end of the night, but as a 2-stack, we did about 5 hours, and we only lost one game. Now, granted, I will say that there was a couple of games where we did get a nice, good hard carry from a much better player, but you know, I mean, sometimes that's just the way matchmaking is, and I am not going to complain about the wins. But we all did our part, for the most part. It's a great game. Very, very, very nice update from the original Counter-Strike in terms of graphic and sound. I think it's still, the movement's a little different. I'm not enough of a nerd to really know how bad it is. Frank Ruiz, how does it get like that? Vader, is that you? So basically, these capacitors are. Ooh, this system was released in 1990, so 33 years old at this point. Eventually, they just leak their guts out onto the board, and unfortunately, their guts are acidic. And your only choice is to snip them off and clean. And the early 90s handhelds, the electrolytics that they use were really, really bad. So a lot of these systems now. Oh no, that was not good. Oh, shit. I think I. Okay. So you can see that one came off pretty bad. I think I'm okay though. But you could see this goop, like this shiny stuff right here. That's all electrolytic fluid. Yeah, and basically it's so bad that the pins they're basically just getting eaten through. They do got guts. They do got guts, man. The fluid guts, the liquid guts. But these things are so corroded that even my soldering iron can't really get this solder to wet. Might be able to get this off a little bit better and just get to the bare metal. Oh, it was, yeah. I thought that was you, Vader. You've popped by like once or twice before. Did they get you your Counter Strike 2 access yet? Because we desperately need 5th. Because you cannot queue with 4, and we always seem to have a 4-stack. Alright, so that's. We might need to wet this with fresh solder on top just to help, but. See, it is. It is so heavily corroded. I might end up scrubbing this before I should probably end up doing that. It's so corroded. There we go. Okay. Ooh, man, that stuff stinks. Ugh. And you missed my declaration before. In case you were very curious, burning electrolytic fluid smells like rotting fish. So this job is equally crappy on a lot of accounts. Oh, jeez. Ugh. Oh, excuse me. You're gonna hear me choke a lot because it is this board is bad. I'm even on 375 degrees Celsius, and those pads were just not wanting to wet down. Okay. Just cleaning a little bit of this solder off real fast, and then fill the pads, do it again. Okay. See, this one cleaned up a lot easier than that other one did. This one's still got a bunch of corrosion on it though. There we go. Yep, the other one does too. You can see how it's not sticking to that pad down there. Basically what we're trying to do is suck up that corrosion in this solder, and then we wick the solder away, and that should leave some pretty healthy and happy pads. So let's just okay. Yeah, it is goopy. It is very goopy. But the good thing about this is once you get this done, you shouldn't have to do it again for another 30 years. So at that point, it will not be my problem anymore. I think someone was out there, Retro 6 was coming out with a ceramic kit. And I think it will work okay for the most part, except a couple of the caps near the audio circuit are pretty high voltage and high capacitance. So ceramic caps in that range tend to be pretty expensive. So, but I would much prefer ceramic caps versus electrolytics. Magic tar, huh? The mini split coils? What's a mini split coil? Yeah, I don't know what a mini split coil is. What's that? You cleaning out like an air conditioner or something? Yeah, we could see. So I can see that's either residual flux from this crappy braid that I really don't like, which is what I think it is. Yeah, that's all that is. Knock that resistor a little bit, but that's fine. So we got some exposed ground trace right there. Same thing down here. Conformal got slightly eaten away, but everything's intact, so that makes me happy. Okay, now move up to this one. I guess we're gonna have to do it this way. Okay. My microscope camera, Uncle Sam, it is an Eakins. It uses the Sony sensor. I'd have to look it up off the top of hand. Basically, it's the same one that Amscope sells, just the Chinese brand, because that's all Amscope does is just rebrand Chinese products. So, it's got the Sony 1080p sensor in it. If you want to give me a second, I can probably look it up for you. Yeah, I'll be back in just a second. I'll look that up for you, bud. Huh. Did that not show up for you? I put a chat in, but I guess it didn't show up. Hold on a minute. That's weird. I put a chat in, but I guess it didn't show up. Hold on a minute. That's weird. Yeah, I'm not sure. My chats aren't showing up, probably because it's a link. Mini split is one of those ACs that has a compressor outside and then there's a blower inside. Ah, okay. Yeah. Man, yeah, cleaning those. Dude, vinegar cleans are the worst jobs ever because, especially if it's heated vinegar. Oh my God. Oh, God, it just brings me back to days of working in a coffee shop and having to descale all those espresso machines and coffee machines, and that, man, you would just basically almost want to puke by the end of it. All those espresso machines and coffee machines, and that, man, you would just basically almost want to puke by the end of it. All those espresso machines and coffee machines, and that, man, you would just basically almost want to puke. All right. Well, unfortunately, Uncle Sam, I am trying to post that link for you, but it just keeps chopping it out of chat, probably because it just auto mods it. It is a Sony IMX 307 sensor. If you go to AliExpress and search for the Econ Shop, you'll basically presented with a whole lot of choices. The Sony IMX 307 is a great choice because it's 1080p, about $500, $400 maybe. But yeah, it's worth it. I used to work with glacial acetic stuff. Oh yeah. You were a chemist, so I imagine you've dealt with some really funky smelling stuff, and I do challenge you. Go go do this job and see what you think, because I am not a fish guy to begin with. so, so this job is really gross to me. It stinks. Ugh, that's looking bad. Okay, well, let's see if we can't just zoop this off. If you can smell it, it's inside. I can't argue with that, Ben. I can't argue with that. I guess in the chemistry world, that could be a very bad thing. Okay, this This is so badly corroded that I'm going to need to clean it first. They really do seem to have left a lot of flux on the board too. Vinegar. Yeah. Bro. I don't mind. I like vinegar too. I'm a very big fan of vinegar and oil. But when it's heated up, it's different. It's hard to explain. It's so much more potent. And then when it's heated up in an enclosed space, oof. Okay. Got that guy off. Grab him out real quick before I lose track. Get this other guy off. Like, this heat has to literally cut through all of that corrosion. Let's see what we can do here. Well, let's just go ahead and do the initial swabby swab. Same deal. It is just so highly corroded that it does not want to wet down and wick off. And that one was better. Let's see if we can get... Might have to do the same thing where I scrape. Oof. Stanky. Yeah, it is just... You want to talk about some goop? That is some goop. Get that just grossly cleaned off, and then brush it off, and then swab it off again. And let's see if that'll take some solder now. You're using a FLIR 3.2 IP camera on your scope. What's 3.2 IP? Megapixel? 3.2 MP? FLIR makes normal optics? I thought they were just a thermal company. This scope I'm using now is a very big upgrade over my cheap little Andon Star. There's my good braid. Hell yeah. Alright. Literally right in front of my face. Love it when it's like that. Okay, this has probably got too much in it already, but... Yeah. 3.2 megapixel. Most scopes are fine, man. I mean, you don't really, I always say there's, you should always invest in your equipment. Getting good equipment will make jobs easier, but, there's always a law of diminishing returns that gets applied. And honestly, as long as the camera does what you want, then good for you. I got this one because I needed a pretty big upgrade from my last one. And I got this one on a nice little reticulating arm that can go vertical. Better zoom functionality, better image quality. I really don't suggest you do what I did and spend the extra money on the USB recording because it's absolutely worthless. And I don't know why I got it, but you know, live and learn, I suppose. Live and learn. But I've been very, very happy with it. You know, and I could have gotten a 4K scope, but I didn't need it. And the 4K scope was way more expensive, honestly. For, in my opinion, not nearly as much benefit as this one got me. And I've been using this one since, I think last September is when I installed this on my workbench. Yeah, maybe that Gootwick is actually better. It's goopier, but better possibly. Just don't know what happened to it now. Well, I guess it's because of that rosin flux or rosin core on it. We'll grab it. All right, so let's just, you know, if I wonder if maybe I should just start tapping a little bit of, just a tiny bit of flux. Yeah. I mean, I guess it might be better if you're really into content creation. And it's one of those things where it's like you don't need it, but like at the same time, it kind of lets you be a little bit future proof for when 4K is way more adopted than it is now. My whole issue with 4K is it's one of those things where it's like you need the monitor, but you also need the content. And if most of my content is still in 1440 or 1080, then 4K is not worth it. Especially in terms of gaming, I don't think 4K is really worth the cost and the performance hit that you get. I will admit that it does look absolutely gorgeous, but not for me, not worth the money. I just wanted better clarity. Okay. Really trying to take my time with these. I did put a nice little blister in my finger there. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. That one was kind of juicy. Maybe that was just a piece of the material. I don't know, it looked juicy, but alright, so now we're gonna try to keep these things from pinging off, because my luck, they'll just end up on the board somewhere. Okay. That's what I was doing last time, just a little squeezy squeeze, and these tend to disintegrate. Yeah, this area is, you can see all that fluid. Oh, the fluid. Let's just clean it first. Thankfully, so far, everything has been gross looking, but non-destructive. I will take that, honestly. I will take it. Alright, let's see if we can't get you to work now. Just kind of get the cable in the way there. Alright. Okay. That side. This one was far less corroded. Still stinks. And my stink counter is probably up to about 50 by now. Okay. So we're gonna do the flux method. I think I just prefer the flux and the other braid. I think it does a better job, in my opinion. It's also a little bit wider as well. Lots of people love the Gootwick. I can't say it's bad. It's definitely not been my favorite. Okay, again, I'm not scrubbing. I'm just gliding over the pad. And we could see how, I don't know if y'all saw that, but right here, this was like, see, that's corrosion. It just kind of leapt up and squished across the board, which is why this is why we do the focus on cleaning. Okay. I'm going to use this one. These two I can toss away. So far, the only major damage, and I'm seeing it's not major, it's a little bit heavy-handed, but you could see that some of this conformal coating is just a little bit eaten away, which is not a huge deal. Well, that looks good though. I don't see anything left, so I guess we'll just keep moving on. We'll go to this guy right here. This one is heavily corroded. Now this chip right here is the CPU, and then right below it are the pieces that handle the graphics processing. It's a very interesting design, and Luke over at Retro 6 just released a tool where he did some destructive reverse engineering and has a schematic of this board now. Well, not a schematic, but he's got the traces mapped out in a tool, kind of like the one I use for the switches. So you could kind of dig into the board layers, which is super, super, super handy because they double solder mask this board. Although this one, I guess it depends on the model you get, because this one I can actually like look and see the traces. And on the Turbo Express, they were like double masked, so the solder mask was so thick that you couldn't actually see where shit was going. So it was really freaking frustrating to trace circuits out. And with this tool, you can actually go through all the layers and you know, figure out where things go, which is huge when you're trying to diagnose. Okay, is this going to want to pop off? Or am I going to need to convince it to pop off? I think I'm going to need to convince it. So I just kind of like to just barely, there we go. You don't need much pressure with the plastic. It kind of does just want to break if you squish it. Now these are very, very corroded. I love how these are literally brand new tweezers and already bent. Okay, so I think, you know, what we're going to do now is we're just going to very lightly scrape here. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Let's see if maybe okay. Okay. I can get behind that. I am not shy of admitting that those gross pimple popping videos are a fuck ton of fun to watch. I will say though, from my perspective right now, this is actually, it's a very, well, on this board particular, this is a very rare console, kind of expensive, so this type of work is kind of nerve-wracking. It is fun, but at the same time, like, yeah, it's tough. I mean, you can see this is just so heavily corroded that the solder doesn't even want to wet. There we go. Oops, still on there. It's okay. I'll get you. But once we get it to wet, it's really easy to. I'm gonna just go ahead and say this one's gonna need some fresh solder too. All right, that one came off a lot easier and made a fool of me. That's fine. Well, you know, I will say this, Vader. If you were to smell this right now, you would not be saying what you're saying. It is very disgusting. Unless you like the smell of rotting fish, then you probably would really enjoy this. This is a PC Engine GT, or essentially, it is a portable TurboGrafx 16. It is quite literally a portable graphics 16, TurboGrafx 16. Same hardware. I mean, literally the same, just squished down and put into a handheld version. Now, this is the GT is the Japanese model, and the Turbo Express is the North American model. I have a Turbo Express. I was not able to get that one successfully up and running, so I bought this one because the condition of it looked phenomenal and the price was agreeable. But yeah, it is still very, very, very nerve-wracking. Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, Bonk, for sure, dude. Bonk is great. I have Bonk as well. I also have. Let me just show you this real quick. You might enjoy it. So this This right here is a flash cart for your TurboGrafx. I could literally load the entire library, both the Japanese and American games, onto a flash card and stick it in that thing, and it will run it. Yeah, all that fluid up there. Ugh. Alright, so what do we want to do now? I guess we could try with the audio circuit. We're going to go for the smaller cat first. These two horizontal ones right here might give me enough room to get my clipper in. Otherwise, this whole area is going to have to get thoroughly scrubbed. Now, I'm very much go over this particular section with kid gloves, because the last time I did this job, oh, nope, see, gotta be careful. Don't want to nudge that top guy, but I did rip a pad up here last time, and so this time I want to really make sure I don't do that. This trace repair in this area is a very crappy job. Oh, see? God, it's making me so nervous. Okay. See if we can maybe just... Okay. Oof. One down. Yeah. Oh man, dude, it's nuts. Pretty much all of my vintage systems have a very similar flash cart. There's a guy out there. His name is Crix. I mean, there's Chinese versions too, but the originator of a lot of these products, his name is Crix, and they're called EverDrives. And I have them for pretty much all of my vintage systems because I'm not really a cart collector. It's not something that interests me, and I don't want to have a wall of video games when I could literally just fit the entire library onto a flash card. But yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I think I would get like 2 games a year, maybe 3, and they're always like Christmas and birthday presents. Yeah, that's the one thing that really hasn't changed too much over the years, is the cost of video games has been always pretty expensive. Okay, so we're gonna go with this guy now. He was a little wobbly looking, so I'm a little nervous about him. Now, the guy next to him is very close by, so I gotta make sure I don't nudge it too much here. Okay. Halfway through. Okay. Almost there. Got it. Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. And you know, and for a lot of folks, it's, you know, even there's like people who don't want to have a whole bunch of consoles in their house. Like that's when I start pushing the, oh, you want like a, you know, or like a Retroid Pocket or an analog Pocket or a Retroid. You know, hell, even maybe a Steam Deck, well, they're very expensive. But you can get emulators, you know. Oh no, did I lose a capacitor or resistor there? Sure looks like I did, but well, I'd have to go look on my other board. could just be a non-pop. Okay, so this is needing a little bit of love here. It really does feel like I pinged off that resistor, but honestly can't tell. And those pads look pretty filled in, so could just be a non-pop. Okay. Now that should let me get to the other one. Oof. Gross. Yeah. I'm not a very big fan of mobile gaming either. My vision has always been shit. Okay, now this one is the one that makes me super nervous because this is the one that broke last time. Okay, so far so good. Okay. It's alright. But yeah, that the vision thing gets me even when I'm playing on a monitor. You know, like it's like games like Counter-Strike. I'll be like, "You just saw the guy." I'm like, no, I really didn't, because my vision's so fucking bad that I'm lucky I can see 2 inches in front of my face. I hate saying this because it's not a real legal thing, but I am essentially blind without my contacts or glasses, and if I have my glasses off or my contacts off, um, I have to put things literally 2 inches from my eyes to see them. Otherwise, the whole world is a giant blur. Well, we're already doing better on this one than we were in the last one because I tore this pad last time. So I'll take that as a win. Now we're going to flip the board again. And we're going to go for that small one first just to clear up some room. Yeah. Yeah, I rely a lot on movement, unlike a T-Rex. Which is weird because, like, I have crappy vision, but I love playing Tarkov. And I usually don't do too bad in Tarkov. I'm no landmark, but I usually have around a 70 to 75% survival rating in Tarkov, so I do well enough. But I also don't play that game solo, so there's that. This guy's like just hanging on, huh? And we're working our way up to the worst cap that I was able to see. And I swivel the monitor closer. You take a look at some of the pros. They literally, that's why we always joke about, nose to monitor. A lot of those guys actually legitimately play nose right up against the monitor. It's kind of insane. But again, that's why they're pros and we're not. Okay, so this one's a really cramped cap because of that. I think it's an inductor. It's got to be an inductor. It's a coil for sure. Ferrite bead, actually. Probably is a filter. I'm guessing for power because this is a power jack right next to it. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so we got half of it off. Oop, I see now. We got most of it off. For the first time ever, I think I'm going to be able to just lift this plastic piece off. Oof. Okay, well. All right, so let's clean up this whole area. Tarky freaks you out, dude. Tarky is it is a horror game. I kind of will say that like as you play it more and more and more, it's less scary. But dude, I'll still get jump scared, and it's a very stressful game, you know, because you're constantly thinking someone's about to kill you, and you never really seem to be able to relax. Um, I totally get that. I totally do. And I took a very long break from it actually this year, and kind of started to realize how much I enjoyed other games because it was more enjoyable to play. Alright, so I might have to come in here with some solder mask. Not sure, but that should be okay. Yeah, oh, this is surface corrosion? Yeah, I don't want to scrape too much, but it's a little glue. Come in there, maybe clean that a little bit better. That's the power jack, headphone jack. Also the cause of a lot of problems. But definitely did better here than I was expecting. So most of the corrosion just seems to be kind of surface level, which is really good. Oh, 100%. Actually, that's why we call them cool down games in Mattress Club. And a lot of us are the same way. You know, we'll crank out 3 to 4 hours of Counter Strike, and then cool down with some like PGA Tour golf or something like that. I've been playing like Celeste was one that I was playing recently. Just a lot of single player games that you can kind of pick up, and then if you play them for an hour, or if you play them for 5 minutes, they're just as enjoyable. I like those types of games because Tarky is a game that's a commitment. Like you can't just play a raid. You can't just go in and do a raid here and there. It's like WoW. It's a job if you want to really enjoy Tarkov. Even Counter Strike, like Counter Strike is more casual than Tarkov is, but uh, right now, currently, if you want to play a long match of Counter Strike, you're committing to an hour. I mean, there's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it unless your team is just that good. So, and also can be quite stressful, depending. Oh, Minecraft, man. Now that is a game that I remember. I'm not a very creative person, so like building stuff was never really like my forte, but like what you just said is exactly what I did. I would go find a cave and then I would dig and just dig for like an hour or two. And it was the most cathartic, relaxing way to end my night. Just put some very chill music on, chill out. Battlefield, yeah, Battlefield, that kill die spawn mentality. It's very relaxed because nothing really matters, and especially in Battlefield, you're experiencing what it's really like to be a soldier, in that you are a very small cog in a very large machine. So your individual performance does not matter as much as your team. So that's cool. Have you played BattleBits? And I think CS TDM is not. It's not my favorite. It's a great warm up tool, but I don't know. I wouldn't really call it relaxing. It can get pretty frustrating in itself. All right, so we're gonna have to go back over all of this. Might end up having a. So this right here is a ground point for the shield on the other side, but you can see how dull that is. That's all corrosion. So I'm probably gonna have to go in there and maybe pull out that solder. Okay, well, we're gonna begin the process here. Okay, yeah, it's just not my style of game these days, but I appreciate the game for what it is. It was very well done. It is very refreshing to see a game launch with working multiplayer. The experience is fun. It's kind of a wholesome shooter. The VoIP really kind of makes the game plays well. Yeah, I think it's really meant to be a very casual shooter. Like, you're not meant to grind that. I mean, of course anybody can do it, but I think you're really just meant to play that one for like an hour or two and then call it a day. It's very much like Overwatch for me, in that just around the two hour mark, the game starts to get pretty stale. So I kind of, when I was playing, I played it for a couple hours, and that's what I would do. I would just literally just play it for. Oh, excuse me. Oh, that stinks. I would just play it for like an hour or two, and then go on to do something else. But when I did play, it was always enjoyable. It was a little frustrating sometimes because once people figured out the cheese, you know how that is. And then you start dying to snipers across the freaking map. You can't even see, even if you're looking for them. That just starts to get frustrating after a while. And like you had mentioned, the high player count can be kind of difficult to deal with. But people really like, the people who are Battlefield fans love that high player count thing. And I mean, that's basically been a Battlefield staple for as long as I can remember. And the vehicles as well. I am not a very big fan of vehicle combat in shooters. It's just kind of like the same mentality as RPGs and explosive devices. Just, I don't know, it's just cheesy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I got too far in my unlocks in that game, but I don't know. It's one of those games where if I'm going to play it, I'm only going to play it if a whole group of people I know are playing it. It's not going to be something I'm just going to load up on my own and go crack out on. But to be fair, I'm not a I'm not a solo multiplayer guy, especially a multiplayer shooter. It doesn't do it for me. I am more of a. I like working with a squad. I like team play. I think I think that's just more satisfying for me personally. Okay, it's looking pretty grody. That kind of cleaned up. I think I am going to just, for posterity's sake here, we're going to refill this. I think that's what I want to do. Okay, now we're just going to add some fresh leaded into this and burn myself with the hot wick, as I want to do. It's one thing in this hobby that you get used to is burning yourself. And see, that is a nice and shiny now. So that's the audio circuit done, which is probably the trickiest circuit to remove and reinstall, just because of how tight the space is. Oh, okay, so we're gonna do this guy. I think we're gonna do the contrast circuit capacitor last, just because, yeah, it's on the other side of the board. Okay, so we've got this guy now. Now this guy is right next to this, and I think this is a transformer. Yep, it's a transformer. You can see the T right there. Yeah, T500. And that's a transformer. What the heck? What is that on that diode right there? See? See? See what I'm saying? That is a capacitor leg. God dang it. Now I'm going to have to go over this entire board with the microscope. Yeah, BattleBit, that, and you know it's hilarious, and just even public comms on that game are amazing, and people really do. I mean, they're pretty hardcore about the no toxicity thing, um, and I think that's kind of really what makes that game so special too. Is people really kind of do abide by that, so the comms are really good, and you get really cool things. Like I remember we played a game, and we hopped into a chopper, and one of the guys in the chopper started playing Fortunate Son over VoIP as we were flying in. It was hilarious. So good. Just stuff like that. And then the fact that you could like trash talk the enemy when you're lying there down and stuff like that and whatnot. That's just it's great, man. But at the same time it's not filled with a bunch of toxic shitheads like you get in Counter Strike and other similar games. Ooh, knocked into my microscope there. All right, let's just go ahead. Snippy snip. Oh yeah. We actually started doing that one night. Um, when we would kill guys, we would just like drag them behind our lines or whatever, so their teammates couldn't revive them, and the shit they were talking was hilarious. Love it, man. I fucking love it. It's so good. It's really good. They knocked it out of the park with it. I think it's like it's an indie game too. The development studio is very tiny. It just goes to prove that you don't need to be a giant corporation to produce an almost AAA quality level game. It's not quite AAA, but I mean maybe it could be. Hey man, you too. Enjoy your day. Thank you very much for stopping by, and maybe we'll see you on Counter Strike here shortly. Oh, that one got me. Oof. She got me. Right, that cleaned up pretty well. Pretty well. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I'm doing a little. Can't tell if that's probably for me, but again, it's not a huge deal. Okay. Oh, look at that. All that corrosion on that, whatever that is. I'm not even sure. That's a transistor, but another transistor right there. Voltage regulator, probably. MOSFET. Looks like a MOSFET. Alright, well, let's get this one out the way. Alrighty. Okay. Let's get this guy off real quick. I didn't like how that one leg was moving. No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. So we have 4 left on this board. I've been streaming for 1 hour and 44 minutes. That's about normal. This guy is really gunked up the surrounding components. So we're gonna have to really clean this area. I might even end up pulling off that MOSFET, maybe, all said and done, just to kind of inspect, but it's pretty grody. Like that needs to get addressed too, because yeah, it's pretty bad right now. Might just tap it with some braid and see if I can't suck up some of that crappy solder. Alright, so now let's see about maybe we need you in view here now. Maybe a little light might help in this case. Not really. Not really. Let's turn that off. I think if I did this though, there we go. That's slightly better. Yeah, you can see kind of how everything's looking dull and not so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to maybe wick away. Well, that's a diode. It says diode, and this is a transistor, so I don't know. It looks like a FET to me, but I think I'm going to have to spin this the other way around. Honestly, this is going to be a little bit easier like this. And now I need a light. Okay, that's sort of better. Alright, now I can kind of get my braid in on top of these legs, and then I'll just suck up what I can. Okay, well, we got our wish. So I've got to be very careful here that I don't lose this. Okay. Let's go ahead and we're just going to get you off the board. Okay. Now I can flux and clean. Properly. That needed to happen. The state of that FET is pretty bad, so kind of happy I did that. I just can't lose track of it because I don't know the value of it, although I suppose I actually do have a spare board. could see how it corroded away that solder mask. Thankfully, I think that's just a ground. Could be wrong though. Okay, yeah, we can't lose track of that chip. So thankfully, I do believe that side is a ground. We should be okay here. What we're gonna do, multimeter in continuity mode. That's where, if you're not familiar, when I have a connection between my two leads here, makes a nice little beep. So we're gonna put one end on this pad, and then we're gonna find a ground point, which a shield point should do. Yes, sir, that side is ground, 100%. Okay, so now, thankfully this chip only goes on one way. Oh, actually, you know what? Oh no. Alright. Again, I can't lose this. But what I want to do I just kind of want to get do it like that, very gently. So I'm trying not to grab, I want to grab by the, not the pin, right? That's probably the better way to do it. Just like that. Okay. Basically, the whole point there was we did want to clean off any corrosion that may have stuck itself to that chip. Now, let's see here. We're gonna just go ahead and get you lined up. I think we'll probably end up doing that background plane first, is my guess here. So I'll hold you in place with some tweezers, maybe. I'm gonna apply a little bit of flux. And then we're just gonna extract our solder wire from underneath the board. Get a little bit of solder on my tip here. And hold you in place. And then just, bam. Okay. And we'll go back and reflow that back one. And then now that we got that done, of course, just do yourself a favor, even if you don't think you need it, add flux. Always add flux, just makes your life easy. Okay, might come back and redo that. Let's get this middle guy again, huh? I might come in with a thinner tip, but I think we're good. Because I think at the same time, so basically we can follow, so we know that that middle pin goes right here, and I can just go like that. Okay. They don't seem like they're moving. They are connected, so I'm going to assume they're okay, but we will, once we get these caps off, we'll take another look at it, and I'll have better access to that last leg. Now, these guys are kind of a pain in the butt, simply because I got to trim out all that white epoxy or silicone or whatever the crap that is. And I did this last time using an X-Acto knife, so I think I'm going to do the same thing this time. It's actually not too difficult here. Now, again, you got to remember there's a small component or a group of components right here that needs to get protected. So all we need to really expose, so there's a pad right underneath here. So we're going to basically trim just here and here. So we should leave this whole thing aside. Now what I did last time was I just focused mainly on kind of cutting around the sides first. And then kind of just start gently flaking it off. Again, just take your time here, because the stuff does act like a glue, and you can potentially pull up some pads or whatever if you're not careful. And then these caps are directly related to your power circuit, so you really kind of don't want to ruin things down here, otherwise you won't get your device to power on without a bunch of rework. And this is not an area that you really want to have to do a whole lot of rework in. Right, so we're probably going to just start cutting again. It's pretty thick. It's hard to, I don't know if you can tell on camera how thick it is, but it's pretty thick. So we're going to just keep you don't really want to wiggle the caps too much either, because that lateral force will definitely cause some rip pads. You can see that we're just flaking away here. All this stuff is, you can see all that juice leaking out. Very goopy. Very, very, very goopy. Okay, well, now a little bit of it freed up. So let's just keep working around this. Let's go work around this cap first. And then once we could start seeing some, I'm going to hold on to it again. I could see oh, it's so thick that it's holding on to my X-Acto blade there. All right, was sitting on my computer when I was trying to link up my camera for that one guy, I noticed y'all could really hear my air conditioner was going off in the background, so I might have to set up some noise gates or something, because that was pretty annoying. Unfortunately, that's not the thing that I'm really aware of until I go back and rewatch a stream, and sometimes I don't do that, especially if it was a bad stream for me. I really don't want to relive me ruining things all over again. You know, PTSD or whatever you want to call it. Oof. This stuff is it's gotta kind of flake away, and I'm gonna grab this because they're thinner. Okay. So basically, again, we're just trying to chip away. We can see that we're getting access to that black plastic now. I'm not going to really worry too much about what's caught to the cap, but I still need a little bit more access. After this is done, yeah, see that got nice and blobby. Those guys look like they could use a little bit more solder. Okay, let's see what we got here. Scoop, goop. Probably gonna need to just chop off just like that, pretty much. Okay. I think what is under this is supposedly a very sensitive component. So again, that's kind of really why you want to take your time and not over trim this. Oh, see, I over trimmed it. Fuck. It's alright. I could probably come in with some hot glue and cover that up later. Oh wait, I'm an idiot, aren't I? Where's these pads at? Right here? Oh, son of a bitch, I am a dumbass. Alright, well, we're okay. If that's there, and that means, okay, so we're good on this side. There's a little bit of that exposed, but again, I'll just come in with some hot glue or something and cover that up, and we'll be okay. So, I think okay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and try to see if we can get this one off. Cap up my knife here so I don't stab myself. Got the one at the top right's the vertical, and this is the horizontal one. Let's go from the other side now. Probably go out and get a new paper towel after this. I did it on the top paper towel, just a peace of mind kind of thing, just in case the silicone mat I had any type of metal particulate on it. Let's just do my best to keep this board as pristine as possible. Oh no, oh please, oh god, thank god. That one just came off weird. And I think what I ended up doing is just snapping the pins internally. But thankfully, those are looking somewhat intact. Okay. So now this guy here, you can see here's the pad right here. So we've got to kind of just same thing. I might need to actually free that up a little bit. Unfortunately, I'm struggling to kind of move the blades forward because of that epoxy crap. Just taking my time as best I can. Alright, I think I got a little too close to the board on that one. Showing this one up a little bit. Oh no. Alright, well, I think I'm screwed now. Crap. This is not one that you really want to have to do trace repair on. I can't tell if that's still intact. Okay. Okay, so just have to be very careful here. Just trying to take the top of that off, and I got the whole thing. All right, so now all this crap. See if I can maybe. Is this free? Okay, yeah. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're going to just brush off as much of the silicone as we can here. And I'm going to change my paper towel out. Probably needs to get done anyway because, I'll get a camera photo of that. I don't know if you could see how all the brown staining from the crappy fluid and flux. Yeah, that's just okay. Cool. All right, so we've got a new paper towel to put down. I'm gonna focus back on this again. And so we still have that guy to take care of. Those pads are intact, thankfully. That pad is intact, thankfully. Now, I think I might get lucky on this one, because, yep. Oh, God, look at all the fucking juice. Christ. All right, so let's clean again. No, soldering iron, I need you. Do appreciate your auto shut off for not ruining tips, but I'm going to need you now. Yeah, so yeah, ate away a little bit of the conformal coat in here, but overall pretty good for the level of corrosion that we did see. A little wet solder blob will help. Woo! Stinky. Bro, gotta hate this shit. Part of why I dread this job. Not only is it the smell. Oh man, I always feel like I'm one step away from ruining the board. And if it was something that I could just easily get parts for, I would not really care too much about. But considering that just a battery cover for this thing cost $80. Now the one saving grace, though, I will say for anybody that does want to work on these things, the one saving grace that you do have is that they are literally portable TurboGrafx or PC engines. So, what that means is that if you ever do blow a CPU or a GPU or a piece of RAM, you can pull those off of a PC engine or TurboGrafx, which TurboGrafx I probably wouldn't because they're not super rare, but they're not as common as PC engines are because if you're not very... Hey, Klappa ZPW, what's up, man? I just noticed your chat. Hopefully I got you not too late. Kind of heads down on this repair right now, so hope you are having a good day. Where are you from, my man? If you are just popping in, this is a PC Engine GT that I'm currently in the process of recapping. We are working on our last few capacitors right now. It has been a very long and arduous process. Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm enjoying my day off here, doing an additional stream this weekend. Where are you from, man? We're going to clean again now. Lots of cleaning. Lots of cleaning. Just got to make sure all that corrosion is 100% gone. Poland. I am from Arkansas, United States. How'd you find me, man? I mean, you're a very long distance away from where I'm at. Okay, so let's just take a look around real quick to see if we can spot any, maybe see this. Is that just crud? Yeah, I think that's just crud right there. It does feel... Oh, that's actually, that's a glue. Yeah, it's a glue stick right there. These little red dots are... They probably put it in because those things are so tall. Alright, so this is still... It might come in later. A little bit of hot glue, just in case. Okay, so let's take a look at this, because this was not really... Yeah, so that needs to get touched up. And this is soldered. So let's just touch that leg up. Now that I have access to do so, but it is looking, oh man, so much better compared to what it was. Because holy God, this was corroded so bad. Alright, let's just get some better solder going here. Alrighty. Okay. That might actually just be a little blobby because some of that. So what we're going to do real quick, just quick little. Perfect. Yeah, it was just a little bit of that solder mask must have lifted because of the corrosion, so it made it a little bit blobby there, but we're good now. And that back is fine. You're in primary school, man? You're fine. You got it, man. You got it. Just keep your head down and keep studying. The best thing you could always do for yourself is just never stop learning. And you only get good at things if you keep practicing, man. I definitely felt like you did when I was your age, but it does get a lot better with time. But you won't die. You'll be fine. You'll feel like you're gonna die, but you'll be fine. Okay, so let's see here. Now we've got one more slightly. This one's all right. But you can see the amount of corrosion. These caps. These are quite possibly the worst capacitors I've ever had to deal with. They're so corroded. They're just so leaky. I got some more clipping I got to do on that. It's still a little bit of the looks good there. Physics is not an easy class, man. Especially if you're like me, and it took me a very long time to understand how math works. And that's what made physics so difficult for me. I've never been very good at math, and that's all physics is. Calculus was never really a strong suit of mine, but I did eventually. I found a tutor who showed me how to make calculus fun, and I'm a very big fan of puzzles. And when he kind of laid out to me how calculus is basically just a giant math puzzle, it got a lot more fun, and he taught me in a way that made it very enjoyable. So stick with it, man. Chemistry. I don't know if Ben's still in the chat. He might be able to talk with you about chemistry because he is an actual chemist. Chemistry was always fascinating to me. Again, you are not wrong. It is a very difficult class, for sure. Okay. We're just gonna Do a little cleaning real quick. What kind of sports you playing, man? I'm guessing football? What us Americans call soccer, but I know it's definitely football. I'm one of the few Americans you'll meet that actually really does enjoy it. Used to be a very big fan of the Premier League, Liverpool specifically. Alright, so now we just got to clean. So weird that they cover the legs of this ceramic capacitor right there in epoxy. It's very odd to me, but I guess again, they just don't want things to break off, so. Volleyball and basketball. I really enjoyed basketball when I was your age. I did. I never was good at volleyball, but basketball was a sport that I really did enjoy. And yeah, man, don't worry about math, man, because let me freaking tell you, once you get out of school, nobody cares if you could pop off an equation by memory or do things by memory. You know, that's just not a real world thing. It's more all about learning the concepts and how to do the math. Because once you get out to the real world, man, nobody's going to be testing you like that. That's just a made-up thing. Alright, so we've got this capacitor to get. Now, this is another one that also, when I did my last one, I did tear off one of the vias, which was really a feels bad man moment. So we're going to try not to do that this time. And I'm probably going to do the easy method, but we're going to get as much of the solder out as we can. Okay, good. I am kind of curious there, Mr. Klappa. How'd you stumble across my channel? I think you are the second person from Poland that I've had drop by. Can't remember if that guy was Poland or Portugal now, though. That's my issue. So these are still soldered. As we can see, if I wiggle these pins, there's no wiggle. So they're basically stuck to that one side of the board there. So I'm going to, this daughter board, there's a daughter board on this that's just, oh, it makes life miserable moving this thing around. Okay, so we're going to come back in here. We're going to add a little bit more flux. And then we're going to try to tap the pins from the side that they're still soldered to. That would be this side in this case, right here. We'll see if I heard that snap. That's good. Same thing with this side. Okay, once you... No, I think that's still... That top one looks like it's still attached, potentially. But this guy, I think, is free. Nope, they're both free. Okay. Good deal. So that's this capacitor right here. Boom. Pads and vias are still in great shape. This is a very swollen and leaky capacitor, as you can see. Well, thank you very much. You seem like a nice person yourself there, my friend. I'm just always curious because, like when I stream, I'm not like a streamer. I just kind of do this for fun. So I don't, aside from, my local Facebook stuff and a couple of Discords that I belong to, I don't really ever notify people that I'm live. And, I'm not a very big time guy. So when I get viewers from across the ocean, I'm just curious how they ended up here because I just think it's fascinating. I think it's really cool, quite honest. I love talking with people from other countries and other cultures. I wish I was a little bit more well traveled. Just a very expensive hobby, so to speak, and I'm not able to afford it much. But I have been to the European Union once, at the very least, so I could say that. I have not been to Poland, but I know it is a very nice country. I've heard nice things, and I've actually spoken a few times with people from Poland. All right. We're looking over this one more time. See, this is probably gonna have to do a quick little scan. I'm just taking a look here. I don't see any more capacitors on the board. Looks good to me. I am gonna have to just do a quick little scan. Now, what I'm looking for is just making sure that it didn't leave any capacitor legs on the board. There we go, a little bit more focus. So sorry if this is shaky, but we've got to how to move the camera versus the board. Just go from top to bottom. We're just looking for any potential capacitor leg that may have left itself here. Let's see, what's that? I think that is just a piece of epoxy. That is exactly what I'm looking for, stuff like that, but metal. Do I have a Discord? I mean, I have a Discord account, sure. I will, when I get the moment, I will make sure to go and add you in if you wish to chat for a little bit here and there. I can't say that I'm too active on Discord, but I definitely don't mind. That's more epoxy right there. I'm gonna go over. Probably gonna have to go clean all the legs on these main chips here. Yeah, see, like, yeah, this is why I wish I just had an ultrasonic cleaner. Pull up all these freaking hairs from everything. I'm just gonna have to go with the toothbrush, I'm guessing, and just scrub the whole board down. Yeah, just more epoxy. Is that epoxy? Yeah, it's epoxy. I don't know. We're gonna grab that just in case. I think it is epoxy. It is epoxy. Okay. That epoxy crap gets everywhere. That's why I changed the towel out, and it still manages to get it literally everywhere. Well, I definitely learned from my mistakes on the first one. And from what I could tell, Someone before. Oh, wait, no. That's VR 501. Sorry. He was looking for something else. Alright, now I did look around here. I could probably clean that better. That's just more epoxy. I'm not going to worry. I just got to clean that off a bit. Now, he was looking there. There it is. VR 500. 47.3, yeah. R503. Is it 47K? I love working on these older consoles because the passes are so chunky. You can actually know what they are without having to pull them out of circuit to measure them. Okay, well, like I think I'm probably gonna end it here. I'm gonna do a little bit of cleaning real quick, just to go over everything. A lot of these ASIC legs looked kind of grody, so let's get some alcohol on them just in case anything leaked down or up or whatever and made its way onto the legs. And those are very important chips that are not so easy to replace. I'm just going through right now. I know there is one more capacitor on the button board that I've got to replace. But we'll get to that when I get to it. Yeah, see, these are looking so much better now. Look at that piece of RAM. Let's take a look at the back of the board. See, I can't tell. Oh, no, that's flux for sure. I'm going to leave that there because when I go solder everything back and see that is that capacitor juice or what? I don't know. It doesn't matter if I know or not. Let's just clean it. The good thing is there's no thermal paste to worry about, really. So you can kind of just glop on the alcohol without worrying about. Yeah, look at that. Look at that audio jack. I hope the thing's okay. You're seeing what I'm seeing. Look at this. Now, the crappy thing is I actually had these damn things in order from China. It made it all the way to freaking Texas, and then they lost them. But it turns out that wouldn't have really solved my issue anyway. But it does suck because I would have had them if I needed them. Let's see, these are all test points. I don't know if this is flux or goo. I know this is the power switch right here, actually. So let's just go ahead and I think it's just flux. This is a 5-volt line right there. That's all flux from me. More flux. It's a freaking transistor. Capacitors and this epoxy crap, which is just so weird. A little bit of corrosion right there, actually. Not looking too healthy. Let's just give this a scrub. Let's see what we end up with. Okay, still good, I think. That's an inductor right above it, 0500. Looks okay. Looks okay. Probably should be using the foam tips rather than cotton buds, but these work just well. I can go pick up a box of them from my local grocery store for $1. That's the backlight connector, just power and ground, and that is the what is that? I think that's for the video out. And then we've got screen. This is the control board, and then that's the screen right there. That's probably just fluxy from that, so I'm just gonna leave that be because I want to reinstall it. See, look at that though. See what you find when you look around though. I can't tell now. I mean, it looks shiny when I tilt it, but like right there, that looks heavily corroded. I don't know what this is. A little 6-legged chip, huh? Again, it just takes a couple of seconds to scrub a little alcohol. I think it's just the angle of the camera right now, honestly. Because there's no electrolytics nearby. So that looks good. We'll call that good. That's some more shield hole. And then we're back at the top of the board where we started. I'm not going to pull that off. Yeah, see, we could bend these down a little bit further, but again, I'm not too concerned about that. Okay. Cool. Well, you know, it was a good day. I managed to get all the caps off this board without ripping or destroying anything, so we are already doing better than we are with my Turbo Express. I still have no idea if this thing will work, but hopefully you guys tune in next Saturday or next Sunday, depending. I think probably next Saturday I'll work on this again. We will recap this next week, and then we will fire it up for the first time and see if it works, because I really want this to work, because I'd love a working version of this. I am going to be sending off my Turbo Express to somebody in the UK for them to look at it, and we'll see what they have to say. Hopefully they can figure out what's wrong with it, because I don't know what is wrong with it. And, you know, that's where we're at with that one. But this one, I'm hoping, given how everything went, kind of hopeful that it will work. And then after that, we have my most ambitious project yet, which is a PC Engine LT. If you don't know what one of those is, I highly suggest you go and look it up. And then get back to me, because that one is going to make me, if this made me nervous, that's going to make me piss my pants, because it is very expensive, very rare, and very difficult to work on. So stay tuned for that one. That's going to be a wild ride. I'm actually both dreading and looking forward to that repair, because if I get that one working, it is a literal holy grail item for me. Something that I will probably hold on till the day I'm dead. Anyway, thank you so much for anybody who stopped by, who left a comment, follow, subscribe. Anybody watching in the future, I do really appreciate you. If you do have a moment and have time to hit that subscribe button or the follow button, that would be really cool. Leave a comment or a like or whatever. Let me know where you're from, because again, if you were watching, you know that it's something that I actually really enjoy learning about. So, with that being said, I do stream every Saturday and Sunday. 11 a.m. Central Standard Time is usually when I start, between 11 and noon. So try to catch me there. I will hopefully be here next Saturday at that time. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your holiday if you're in the States, the rest of your evening, your day, or if you're in the rest of the world and watching this later. And I will hopefully see you here when I'm live next. So